Again, I'm talking to Les Leopold, author of the new book, Runaway Inequality. You can find it at runawayinequality.org. You can find Les on Twitter at Les_Leopold. Well, earlier on, you mentioned how pretty much all of our fights for progressive justice, for social justice, are connected and tied to economic inequality. One thing that you talk about a good deal in your book is how so many aspects of the justice movement are essentially in their own silos, and how we need to kind of come together to actually, because it's all connected through inequality, how we actually decide to actually come together to some kind of common causes here. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Right. Over the last 30 years, a tremendous number of very fine organizations grew up around specific issues: criminal justice, environment, labor rights, immigration, etc. And they built these very fine organizations with, really capable organizers. But it became a silo detached from many other groups. Yes, some coalitions formed, etc., etc. But we were completely caught off guard when the economy collapsed in 2008, and we didn't really understand how runaway inequality was connecting us up. We didn't understand the fundamental workings of our very economy. We didn't know how it was that all of our money was ending up on Wall Street, and that all the issues we were working on were connected. Let me give you an example. Look at the prison population. For 100 years, the prison population in the United States was steady. There was a gap between African-American prisoners, Latino prisoners, and white prisoners, but it wasn't enormous. But it was a steady number of people, and as a percentage of the population. Then once this Better Business Climate model hit and destroyed any and all government programs that would create jobs directly for low-income people and would concentrate on inner-city youth and all those kind of programs, once they were totally decimated, we went to this Better Business Climate model, the prison population soared, absolutely soared. Matter of fact, its shape is exactly the shape as the rise in the wage gap between the CEOs and the rest of us. This enormous increase after 1980. We now have the largest prison population in the entire world. In effect, we are the biggest police state in the world. And this didn't just happen because of overt or institutional racism. That's been going on for a long time, hundreds of years. But when this Better Business Climate hit, there was this explosion. So there has to be a connection between those people who are fighting to end racism and criminal justice inequities, which have to be ended, and police brutality. All that has to be connected with this runaway inequality. The two are tied together. You can't do one without the other. So our silos have to become more permeable. We have to realize that we're fighting the same fight, and that we have to do something about this runaway inequality. Otherwise, how do you explain this burst of the prison population? Even Ferguson, Missouri, where the tragic death took place, even Ferguson, you can show how that town, after 2008, they were faced with an enormous budget crisis. So what do they decide to do? Faced with this economic pressure, right? The rich aren't paying their taxes. There was a collapse in the economy. They decided that what they were going to do was raise revenue from the poor by gobbling them up in the criminal justice system and extracting fines for them. They had a deliberate strategy. The Department of Justice found out that most of the counties around St. Louis did the same thing. A deliberate strategy to extract money from low-income people. And that, of course, increased the number of attention spots between police and citizens, and boom, somebody gets shot and killed for nothing. Or you take Eric Garner in Staten Island. Here's the point I really want to make. Prison has become our anti-poverty program. Instead of producing jobs, we put people into jail. That's the dirty little secret of the Better Business Climate model. So Eric Garner, what is he doing in Staten Island? He is
selling cigarettes, yeah.
Selling cigarettes.
Right.
And he dies. So you can't deal with criminal justice and police brutality without also having to deal with the 50% unemployment rate for African American youth in places like Baltimore and Cleveland and other places like that. So we have to come together and open up our silos and have a common analysis. So the kind of hubris of this book is suggesting that, you know what, I've got a common analysis to share with you. Try it on for size. See if it doesn't connect the issues that we're all working on together, and see if we can't begin to come up with a common agenda and perhaps even a common structure.